All right, good morning. Welcome, Coffee with a Coach. So I always end up playing with my hair. I don't know, what is that? Today's session is a write-in. Oh, now I'm all staticky. So today's session is a write-in, and it was a really, really fantastic question. She asked to remain anonymous, so I'm not going to share who it was that sent it in. But I really, really love this question. And since it's a topic that we work on in E3 a lot, I thought it was a really, really appropriate topic for Coffee with a Coach. So first of all, good morning. I have my cup. This morning I'm drinking Irish afternoon tea because I needed a little caffeine, and that's the caffeine that I had in my cabinet. And I'm drinking from my Chaos Co-Coordinator mug, which was a gift to me from my dear friend Dawn. So thank you, Dawn. And I was thinking as I was making my cup of tea this morning, what a ritual it is, right? It's so ritualistic. And I was sad as I was putting my tea together because I usually like my tea with a little bit of honey. And I'll be honest with you, I am so picky about my honey. I'd love to know who else is really picky about their honey. I have my mom ship it to me from Connecticut, where I'm from. There's a fantastic, beautiful little farm is it South? It's in Southbury, Connecticut, called the Hannon Farm. I went to school with some of the guys, the Hannons, the Hannon family, and they have just this most delicious honey. And so my mom ships it to me. But I also, I'm big proponent of shopping local. And I love the guy on Woodman. So anybody who's here in Colorado Springs, there's a guy on Woodman who sells honey out of his truck in the parking lot of King Soopers. And so I feel like I'm talking about a drug deal here. But no, go visit the guy in the parking lot of King Soopers to get your honey, because it is delicious, fantastic local honey. And my husband brings it home to me all the time. So, however, I'm running out of honey right now, and so I was sad. I used sugar in my tea, which makes it taste a little funny. But it's the fun of it. So welcome again. I'm going live with StreamYard. I didn't change the logo. I have Morale's logo up there for 0 Point Academy, which is an awesome place to go get some great, fantastic information. However, I'm Courtney with Crystal Clarity, and it's a Friday morning, and here's where we're going. So I'm live with StreamYard. If you have any comments, I would love to see comments, questions, participation in any way. Just give StreamYard permission to use your name. Otherwise, you show up as a user, and that's it. And I'd love to give shout outs to anybody who's here and watching. So today's topic: where is my power, and how do I take it back? This is a fantastic question. We're constantly talking about take your power back, take your power, don't give your power away. But I can remember a time when I didn't know what that meant. And I think we talk about it so easily and it flows so much. There's not much really understanding or explanation when we're talking about what is your power, where is it going, how are you giving it away, all of that. So I just love this question. We'll start first with where is my power? And the basic, most easiest answer is to understand that when you change the way you're showing up, who you are, how you're acting, how you're behaving, based on someone else, you've given them your power. Essentially, what you're doing is you're allowing them to dictate who you are and how you're showing up. You're allowing their presence to say who you're going to be. This happens often when we're intimidated by people, when we're angry with people, when we feel hurt, betrayed, resentful towards people, we will act differently. We're going to act differently in their presence. We'll shut down. Our voice can change. Our body language changes. All signals that you're giving your power to someone else, that your power lies in someone else's hands. Now, how freaking frustrating is that when you hear that you're giving your power to the person who you least want to hold your power? That's really frustrating. So consider for a moment, if you are in any situation where you change, where your way of being changes immediately when someone in particular walks into the room, that's you giving your power to them. That's meaning you are giving them the opportunity to dictate who you're showing up as. And I know I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I want to be really clear on what this is and make it clear and easy to understand. So, if you are in an argument with someone and you're at a party and you're bubbly and happy and outgoing, and then that person walks in the room and you go and you shrink back, you avoid them, you will move in different ways, you change the way that you're sharing yourself, you stop being that outgoing bubbly personality that you were, or whatever personality is your authentic personality. That person has your power. Okay, that's what we mean when we say, where is your power, or you've given your power away. So this is really a huge indication. Now, I'm going to say something that's going to brush a lot of people the wrong way, and I'll explain it, so stick with me. But that's an indication that you have forgiveness work to do. Forgiveness is a huge topic. Forgiveness, we covered forgiveness for 2 to even 3 weeks in E3 because it's A, so powerful, but B, so confronting. We don't want to forgive someone who has hurt us because that means that they are being let off the hook, right? Wrong. That's not what forgiveness means. Forgiveness is all about freedom. Forgiveness is letting go of the resentment within you so that you aren't being controlled by that other person anymore. Now think about it, that word control. If I'm in a situation where, I'm being my upbeat, bubbly, whatever, happy self, and then someone else walks into the room or their name is mentioned or whatever, and I shut down, they have my power. It's also a form of control. Now, who wants to give away control over their well-being or who they are to somebody who has hurt them? None of us do. None of us want to do that. Well, the answer and the question to how do I take it back? The answer is forgiveness. We have to understand that forgiveness is not, and you've probably heard this lots of times, but it doesn't ever get explained. Forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for yourself. You don't have to go up to the person and say, I forgive you. There is some release in that. There is some relief in that, but you don't have to do it that way. And oftentimes we don't have that opportunity. We don't get to go to that other person and say, you're forgiven. Forgiveness really is for ourselves, our insides. Imagine you have resentment in you. Resentment is toxic. So you have a toxic soil, but you have all of these beautiful dreams. You have this wonderful life that you want to live. You want to be happy. You want to feel free. You don't want to feel beholden to other people. That's forgiveness. Forgiveness is what allows that to happen. So when you've given your power to someone else, they're controlling that destiny. They're controlling your ability to live this happy, beautiful, wonderful life. It's really frustrating, right? We don't want them to have that power. So what we do is we go through first recognizing, who do we need to forgive? Who's holding our power right now? And there's a number of questions that you can ask yourself to really determine that. The one based on this topic is, who am I changing myself for? When someone walks in the room, when their name is mentioned, when you think about them, when they come across your imagination or they come into your mind in some way, and your mood all of a sudden changes, they have your power. They are controlling who you are and how you're showing up. So really the only way to release that and let that go is forgiveness. Now, I would love to hear just, a shout out, yes, me, or amen, or whatever. Can you think of now anyone who is holding on to your power just from that description? And is it hard to admit that they have that power? I know it is for me. I'm doing this daily practice. I'm in it all the time. And when I recognize that I'm letting someone else mess with my authenticity, it's burdening to me. It's frustrating to me. And I'm not always in the mind of wanting to forgive them right away. So we have to remember that forgiveness is a process and forgiveness takes time. I suggest to my clients, do the small ones first. right? The guy who cut you off on the highway. Focus on just the little things, the little frustrations, the little irritations, and practice forgiveness for them first. Don't tackle the big bad right away unless you're really, really ready. And then give yourself grace. Allow yourself time, because you're not going to have this really huge traumatic experience in your life and then say, oh, I can get free with forgiveness. Okay, I forgive them. It doesn't happen that way. I have a comment. If there isn't resentment and they have done nothing wrong, what other emotions may need addressed to regain power? Okay. I would love if, I don't know who the Facebook user is, if you can give StreamYard your permission to use your name, I would love to know who this is and maybe a little bit more explanation of your, I think I can show this. Okay, I'd love to know a little bit more explanation of your question. And I can even invite you onto StreamYard, I think. Oh, I'm not really good at this yet. I don't know how to invite you on. Let's see if I can do that. Nope, I don't know. But anyway, if there isn't resentment and they have done nothing wrong, what other emotions may need, I'm going to say, to be addressed to regain power? Okay, so essentially, when we say you're giving away power, there is somebody else involved. Somebody else has, on Facebook, no clue. There should be something up above to click to give StreamYard your permission. When we say that our power has been given away, there's somebody else holding it. There's somebody else on the other end of the stick. So I'm not totally clear on your question. Oh, hey, Michael, good morning. Michael, can you clarify for me a little bit more about what you're asking, whether you type it in or if you can find a way? I know there's some way for you to request to join me live, and I would love to have you, but I don't know how to do it. I'm new to StreamYard, guys. Just bear with me. So anyway, I'm going to tackle this question until I can get a clarification from him to the best that I can. What other emotions may need to be addressed to regain power? So essentially, anything where you're feeling out of control, where you're feeling, it could be a sense of loss. It would be anything where you're feeling out of alignment with your authentic self. So anywhere you're showing up not authentic. I think I'm starting to understand what you're saying with this. Anywhere where you're showing up as anybody other than who you truly feel you are is when you're giving your power away. So yes, you can give your power away to situations. I think I'm getting clear now on what you're asking. So what other emotions would need to be addressed would be a sense of loss. Depression can absolutely be a sign or a symptom of having given your power somewhere else. Anxiety, that's a huge symptom of giving your power to somewhere else. Which still, honestly, there's a lot of forgiveness that needs to be done there, because that would be forgiveness of yourself, right? Anxiety comes from a fear, a really deep ingrown fear of loss of control. So it's typically future casting. You're thinking into the future of all of the horrible what ifs that could be happening. And believe it or not, some breath work and some releasing of the what ifs. I love Brenda Martinez talks about a what if up spiral versus a what if down spiral. And if you find yourself what if down, reverse it and try to what if up. Okay, so what if this goes wrong? What if this goes bad? What if it all works out? What if it all goes well? Okay. Another way through this, one of my favorite ways, and this is a lesson in E3, is the turn it around strategy. So this is a journaling strategy. And you first ask yourself, what am I anxious about? What am I upset about? What do I feel challenged with? What is it that I'm having trouble with right now? So however fits your situation, word the question so that you can get out exactly what it is that's bothering you. And then you go a step deeper. So this takes some self-reflection and some admitting, right? Because anytime there's a challenge, anytime we feel like we're up against something that we can't handle, we can't overcome, we can't take on whatever, there is a fear. And people don't like that word. And holy cow, when I say to my husband, what are you afraid of? Oh, I'm not afraid. We all know and love Brent. I use him all the time. But it's hard for people to admit that there's fear, but I promise you there's an underlying fear. So my next question is, what am I afraid of? And yes, it takes some self-reflection, and it does take some deeper thinking to get down into that. But understanding, what am I afraid of right now? And then the third question is, how do I want it to be? So what is my ideal outcome? How do I want it to show up? What changes do I want to see? Anything along those lines, change the question to fit the situation, right? But going through those three questions actually can take away the anxiety of whatever the situation is and make you feel better. So this is all playing with your brain chemistry. I won't get too much into the neuroscience of it, but it is highly, highly effective. And it's a powerful technique for taking your power back. Because when you stop believing in the what if downs, right? That's where your power is being given. So, yes, there's maybe no resentment there, but there is fear, right? So if your fear is in the what if downs and, what if X, Y, and Z happen and it's going to be tragic and horrible and blah, blah, blah. If you can start to turn that around, first look at what are the what ifs, right? Admit that it's happening, and then start to turn it around and say, well, what would I like to have happen instead? And you can do it in that way, or you can do it in the what if up. Well, what if everything works out? Well, what if, they answer my question in a really positive way? Well, what if and allowing yourself to go up, it's raising your vibration. Now, ultimately, here comes the hard one to hear, okay? This is all about your energy. It's all about your vibration. It's all about the frequency that you're living on. You can change your reality by changing your frequency. This is not denying that reality is existing. This is not saying that what's happening to you right now isn't happening. We're not going to turn into toxic positivity here. But by shifting the way you're looking at it, by shifting your perspective, by taking a walk around to look at the other side of it, you can change the reality that you are perceiving right now. That's huge. Boom. Okay, I want you to hang on to that. I see. Okay, so Michael, it sounds like I hit the nail on the head. Okay, good. I'm glad that I was able to work through that. So back to the energy, back to the frequency. I am not promoting toxic positivity. I am not saying, oh, you're thinking negative now, just think positive and everything will be fine. That is not what's going on here. Okay. It takes work. That's why the three questions takes you through. It allows your brain to process. Okay. We're not going to just snap our fingers and change the neurochemistry. But if we take a step-by-step approach, we can change the process and then change the perception of the reality. When we change the perception of the reality, beautiful book. I think it's called Believe It to See It by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Think of the words. You need to believe it in order to see it. And that is our world. That is the truth. Okay. If you are living in a I need to see it to believe it world, you're upside down and backwards and inside out. It doesn't work that way. So believe it to see it. If you want to see a change, you need to believe that a change can happen in order for the change to happen. Okay? So if you want to see a change in where your power is, you need to believe that you are powerful. And I promise you are. And if you can't believe that for yourself right now, that's fine. Send me a note. Okay? I'm telling you all the time. You guys, you've got my cell phone on one of the Facebook pages at least. I'm very available. You can DM me. You can email me. There are so many ways to get a hold of me and say, I don't believe in myself right now. And I will say, I can believe in you for you. That's what a good coach does. That's what a good coach is here to do. And so you have the opportunity to stop doing this alone and reach out and get somebody in your corner. That's often one of the biggest complaints that I have when people come to me is, I don't have anybody to be my cheerleader. I have a whole lot of people who are willing to show me what my reality is right now, but no one who can believe that it's going to be different. And that's hard. When you're trying to do that on your own, that's really, really hard. So reach out, find, if it's not me, find somebody who can believe for you while you are learning to build your belief. All right. I think that covers it. So hopefully this was a really good explanation for you. As usual, if you are interested in being on Coffee with a Coach, obviously you don't have to go live with me. This was a client who wrote in. Oh, you know what? I did want to give an example. I'm going to give an example. But first, let me finish my thoughts. So this was a client who wrote to me and said, look, I love Coffee with a Coach. I watch it. I have this question, but I don't want to go live. No problem. I'm happy to handle it on my own with your question. Not a big deal. So just send me your questions. If you do want to go live, open invitation. I'm booked for the next 3 weeks now, but we'll look into April and we'll get you live on Coffee with a Coach. I would love to share a cup of tea with you. Also, remember E3. I mentioned it, a few times during this. E3 is a phenomenal program. And yeah, I'm biased. I wrote it. I get that. But at the same time, I'm watching my clients change in front of my eyes. I'm watching their reality shift. I'm watching their perceptions shift around to a different way of looking at it and creating a new reality for themselves right in front of my eyes. If you are ready to do that work, if you are ready for change, not just I want to complain and yes, but myself through all of this, and that's not what this is. Okay, those people keep complaining. It's okay. You do your thing, but you're not ready for a program. But if you are ready to change whatever your circumstances are, then give me a call, shout out, DM, whatever it is, reach out to me, and let's talk about E3. Let's see if E3 is your right next step, because man, the transformations are phenomenal. Okay, so the example that I wanted to give was actually a post that I read on Facebook. And I'll be honest, I started to respond on Facebook, and then I was like, nope, this is breaking one of my rules. I don't coach people who haven't asked. And so I just let it go. However, this one particular person had been criticized for something in their business, and they were really feeling, of course you feel that, right? That cuts you deeply. If you're a business owner, that is one of your children. And to be criticized for what you're doing, it hurts. It cuts deeply. Let's not deny that. And then she did a turnaround. But the turnaround was that she was using the criticism as fuel. And she said, I'm taking my power back. Okay, yes, that fuel can help you to move forward, rise above, but that's not taking your power back, because you're still allowing what was said to be an extrinsic motivator to how you're showing up. Doesn't mean that it's bad, right? That fuel is a good thing temporarily, but it's really important to recognize that fuel is temporary. That is not going to last for long enough to really help you regain your balance and stand up strong on your own 2 feet and hold your own power. Okay, so when you allow somebody's criticism to be fuel for you, you are still giving your power to them. It's the intrinsic motivation. It's when you know you have done a good job, no matter what other people say. It's when you know you're showing up your very best, no matter what other people say, right? You are holding your power when no one else or no other outside influence is motivating you to show up as your authentic self. So I just wanted to share that with you. Okay. Wonderful to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. Have a lovely, lovely Friday. I am starting to build this on YouTube. I know I keep coming up with these extra thoughts. I'm starting to create a YouTube library. So at some point I'll be releasing the links for that. You can go like and subscribe, and you can see all of the Coffees with a Coach and all of the topics and everything. It's going to be beautifully organized. So love to see you there. Have a great day. And I would love at some point to get you on my figurative couch for Coffee with a Coach.